Clip of the day.
Okay, I'm going to move us forward. With the President's podcast, I'm pretty sure you have a clip about this too, but I felt today is one of those days where we absolutely need to listen to it's a short one, but his entire podcast, because it's coming right down to the wire, and some people will hear this after the fact, and you'll see what became of it. As always, hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
As President and Commander-in-Chief, my greatest responsibility is the safety of the American people.
Okay, here we go. Let's stop one moment. Before one enters on the execution of one's office, one shall take the following oath or affirmation as the President of the United States. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. That is your top responsibility, Mr. President. I despise it when you do this. You're just doing it to make us scared.
And in our fight against terrorists, we need to use every effective tool at our disposal, both to defend our security and to protect the freedoms and civil liberties enshrined in our Constitution. But tomorrow, Sunday at midnight, some important tools we use against terrorists will expire.
Tools? Yeah, the tools are going to expire.
That's because Congress has not renewed them, and because legislation that would, the USA Freedom Act, is stuck in the Senate. I want to be very clear about what this means.
Please.
Today, when investigating terrorist networks, our national security professionals can seek a court order to obtain certain business records. Our law enforcement professionals can seek a roving wiretap to keep up with terrorists when they switch cell phones. We can seek a wiretap on so-called lone wolves, suspected terrorists.
He just said so-called lone wolves. Nowhere in the legislation does it mention lone wolves.
Who may not be directly tied to a terrorist group. These tools are not controversial.
Yeah, they are.
Since 9/11, they've been renewed numerous times.
Yeah, by douchebags.
FBI Director James Comey says they are essential and that losing them would severely impact terrorism investigation.
Make them have to do work.
Yeah, and yes, to do work and to convict people like Martha Stewart and send them to jail.
But if Congress doesn't act by midnight tomorrow, these tools go away.
Tools.
The USA Freedom Act also accomplishes something I called for a year and a half ago. It ends the bulk metadata program, the bulk collection of phone records.
By the government.
As it currently exists, and puts in place new reforms. The government will no longer hold these records. Telephone providers will.
Right. And they'll get paid for it, and it's much easier to access, and they're indemnified, and this is just smoke.
The Act also includes other changes to our surveillance laws, including more transparency, to help build confidence among the American people that your privacy and civil liberties are being protected.
That transparency he's talking about, because of course I've read this bill. I read it last night again to reinsure myself that the bill passed on to the Senate includes extension of the sunset provision of the 2005 extension of the Patriot Act. It's at the very bottom of the document. I don't understand why no one is mentioning this. It extends what they're saying is going to go away.
By the Senate.
No, I know it hasn't been passed by the Senate. I got it.
But if Congress doesn't act by tomorrow at midnight, these reforms will be in jeopardy as well.
Oh, bull.
Well, wait. Hold on, listen.
It doesn't have to be this way.
No.
The USA Freedom Act reflects ideas from privacy advocates, our private sector partners, and our national security experts. It already passed the House of Representatives with overwhelming bipartisan support, Republicans and Democrats. That doesn't happen very often.
That tells you something.
And now he pulls a little trick on this one.
A majority of the Senate, Republicans and Democrats, have voted to move it forward.
This is interesting the way he says that. A majority, true, but not the required majority for this particular type of vote.
So what's the problem? A small group of senators is standing in the way.
These a-holes, they're probably religious conspiracy theory nut jobs.
And unfortunately, some folks are trying to use this debate to score political points. But this shouldn't and can't be about politics. This is a matter of national security.
Here comes the punchline.
Terrorists like Al-Qaeda and ISIL aren't suddenly going to stop plotting against us at midnight tomorrow.
Guy is nuts. I think you probably have the clip that I'm going to play next, which is he had to sit down with country and Western singer Loretta Lynch, also known as our new head of Department of Justice, the Attorney General.
Well, actually, I went in a different direction, and I had decided to see what the public thinks about this.
Okay, why don't I play these and then you play the public?
You got to play the public comment first.
Okay, which one?
This is the woohoo comment.
Woohoo!
Yes, the beaches are back open. Woohoo! Yeah. That's what the public thinks.
Well, I got to put that in there. I'm going to save that one. Very good. So he's sitting there, and this is a planned announcement. And they're sitting there like, oh, we're having coffee here, sipping a little bit of tea, and then we let the journalists in for this little statement. And I have a follow-up to that where they're getting kicked out. Here's the president's. That was his podcast. It's kind of the longer version. Here's a short version.
The only thing that's standing in the way is a handful of senators who are resisting these reforms, despite law enforcement and the IC saying, let's go ahead and get this done. So we've only got a few days. These authorities expire on Sunday at midnight. And I don't want us to be in a situation in which, for a certain period of time, those authorities go away and suddenly we're dark. And heaven forbid, we've got a problem where we could have prevented a terrorist attack or apprehended someone who was engaged in dangerous activity, but we didn't do so simply because of inaction in the Senate.
We're all gonna die! Heaven forbid. Well, he's almost calling for the perfect timing, John, for the 6-week cycle.
It is the 6-week cycle.
This is beautiful.
Yeah.
Just to show you how these press moments work, and I'm kind of surprised they left this in. Listen to the women who I guess they're in charge of the publicity department there at the White House. As right after he does this statement, the press has questions, and this was obviously a no ask question deal.
So let's go ahead and get it done. All right.
Do you have a reaction to the indictment of speaker pastors and chief legal scandal?
Thank you very much.
So he's saying just thank you. I'm not answering.
Thank you.
Great to see you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
President calling Illinois and what's going on.
Thank you. We're wrapping up.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's over. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. I didn't get that.
Isn't that cool?
That was great. That's clip of the day. You can take it.
Wow.
You have to play it again. You have to play it again.
Okay.
It's just too funny.
It reminds me, as I get ready to play it, it reminds me of the time I was invited to Prince's Paisley Park for a party when I was in Minneapolis. And when it was time to leave, the party was over, and you knew this because dudes would be walking around just flashing flashlights on the ground, just kind of beep, 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 and like, thank you. Oh, okay, time to go. It's exactly the same. He's Prince is what he is.
So let's go ahead and get it done. All right?
Do you have a reaction
Thank you.
to the
Thank you.
indictment of
No, thank you.
speaker
No,
pastors and
thank you.
chief
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to see you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go write it up. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Don't ask so many questions. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Everyone.
President calling Illinois and what's going on.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Clip of the day.
You kind of have to see it to appreciate the full effect.
Did they dim the lights and start playing some house music?
Almost. Thank you. Unbelievable.